اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك.
في المدينة
محمد نبينا بنور هدينا محمد نبينا بنور هدينا.
Stakeholders and experts in Hajj management have applauded the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria for transforming Hajj operations in Nigeria in its 10 years of existence. They were speaking in Abuja on the occasion of the Hajj and Umrah Stakeholders Conference and NAHCON 10th year anniversary. The event, chaired by the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Sa'ad Abubakar, took place at the Conference Hall of the National Mosque on the 1st and 2nd of this month with the theme, Hajj Management in Nigeria, Honoring the Past, Treasuring the Present and Shaping the Future. While making opening remarks, Alhaji Sa'ad Abubakar noted with satisfaction the efforts made over the years to overcome the challenges facing Hajj operations, urging all stakeholders to support NAHCON for better Hajj management.
Therefore, it's our responsibility, all of us, to see how we can strengthen the operations of Hajj in this country. We must continue to move forward, never to move backwards.
In a keynote address, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory and pioneer chairman of the NAHCON, Alhaji Mohammed Bello, says the NAHCON Act put in place in 2006 brought stability in Hajj management.
I think the greatest thing that has happened to Hajj management in Nigeria is the enactment of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria Act 2006. Because it's a document that clearly spells out what needed to be done. And it's a document that arose because of genuine desire and yearnings of the Muslim Ummah.
Speaking earlier, NAHCON Chairman Barrister Abdullahi Mukhtar stressed the importance of the conference and unfolded NAHCON's plan towards Hajj development.
This year's conference is a departure from the conventional stakeholders conference organized by the Commission to evaluate the challenges of past Hajj operation and map out strategies for the success of the future ones. It is a unique conference because the Commission has embarked on assessment of its journey so far within the last 10 years of its existence, with the view of reviewing the general challenges and focusing to propel improvement in Hajj management and efficiency in service delivery to the pilgrims.
The two-day conference brought together stakeholders on Hajj-related matters. In all, 9 papers were presented touching on various aspects of Hajj operations. The Federal Executive Council (FEC) has approved the purchase of Metro Plaza building to serve as the permanent headquarters of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria (NAHCON). A statement signed by the Commission's Director of Media, Malam Ubamana, says the approval was given on Wednesday, the 28th of June, at the FEC meeting presided by the Vice President, Professor Emi Oshibanjo. The statement said the approval was granted consequent upon the ability of NAHCON to raise the sum of 2 billion naira out of the 2.4 billion naira agreed upon, saying that the balance of 400 million naira will be funded from the Commission's 2017 capital expenditure. In May this year, NAHCON Chairman Barrister Abdullahi Mukhtar led other Hajj management officials from states to inspect the building located at Abuja Central area. The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria (NAHCON) says it has introduced several reforms towards improving Hajj operations in Nigeria since coming on stream in 2006. The Secretary of the Commission, Dr. Mohammed Bello Tambuwal, stated this at a media interactive session organized by the Nigerian Union of Journalists, Abuja chapter.
Today, we have direct flights into Medina, because in the past, pilgrims are airlifted to Jeddah and they have to go by road within a range of maybe 5 to 6 hours, which is cumbersome and very tiresome. Some of them fall sick within the period. But today, almost 2/3 of the pilgrims are lifted directly to Medina.
Dr. Tambuwal stated that NAHCON has achieved a lot in the area of accommodation, feeding and transportation of pilgrims to Mina and Arafat, as well as the provision of medical services, among others. He said the Commission is planning to introduce a Hajj savings scheme for intending pilgrims, which will give them the opportunity to make savings over a period of time. The forum provided journalists the opportunity to ask questions on the activities of NAHCON. In an interview, the Secretary of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ, Abuja branch, explains the rationale for organizing the interactive session.
The idea behind this interactive session is it is the mandate, it is the creed of the Nigerian Union of Journalists to ensure good governance. And it is a way of also making them accountable to the people by asking them to face journalists and answer questions from journalists. Let them tell us what they are doing. And you know Hajj is a very important operation in Nigeria.
Dr. Tambuwal concedes that such forum will help promote good governance and thanked the NUJ for hosting the commission.
I think it's always good to bring people in the position of authority to give account of their stewardship. This is part of it, and I believe it will ginger the organizations and our leaders to be able to do more.
The Jigawa State Pilgrims Welfare Board had refunded more than 30 million naira to pilgrims who performed the 2016 Hajj. Spokesman of the board, Alhaji Ibrahim Hashim, disclosed this to journalists in Dutse. He said the amount is for services not rendered to pilgrims during the 2016 Hajj exercise. Hashim said the money, which was refunded to over 2,000 pilgrims, was for tent security and Hajj deposit to Saudi Ministry of Hajj. He further stated that 2 of the pilgrims who were unable to go for the pilgrimage were refunded their deposits.
In 2016, the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NAHCON, introduced the first national medical team. The commission took this decision in compliance with the medical regulations of Saudi Arabia. It is designed to have a resilient, cost-effective and responsive medical team to meet the health needs of all pilgrims in line with international best practices. It is also meant to achieve NAHCON's noble objective of improved coordination and harmonization of all Hajj-related medical services for the benefit of intending pilgrims. Towards improving on last year's gains, the Commission on Thursday, the 22nd of June 2017, organized a workshop for its 2017 Hajj National Medical Team. The focus of the workshop was on the following presentations: Introduction to Electronic Medical Record (EMR), First Aid in Mass Gathering, Role and Conduct of National Medical Team, and the Tenets and Rights of Hajj.
To be ambassadors of this reform.
In his keynote address, NAHCON Chairman Barrister Abdullahi Mukhtar urged members of the National Medical Team to key into the reforms being carried out by the Commission so as to streamline its service delivery to pilgrims.
Prior to this reform, I have visited a lot of clinics of the states. And coincidentally, alhamdulillah, I also serve at the state level myself. I have seen practically where medical personnel of a state will discriminate against a pilgrim of Nigeria simply because he's not from their state. I have seen it. A patient will come to another state camp in Muna or Arafah or even in Mecca. They will say, no, which state are you from? I'm from Lagos. Don't you go to Lagos, Jari? You want to come and consume our drugs. But now with what we have, we look at ourselves as a nation and we go out as a team. The team is Team Nigeria. The team is national team. The team is the team of Federal Republic of Nigeria. What are we after? One goal: to deliver one service to our pilgrims regardless of wherever they come from.
Barrister Abdullahi Mukhtar noted with concern the West associated with a large number of medical personnel taken to Saudi Arabia in the past. In addition to this, he said there was also the problem of poor coordination.
The entire medical workforce of Pakistan is about 350 for 250,000 pilgrims. 350 what? Personnel. Medical personnel for 250,000 pilgrims. But prior to introduction of this reform, Nigeria will have about 76,000 maximum pilgrims with over 3,400 medical personnel. 3,400 medical personnel. If you put it on economic scale, does it make any sense?
The NAHCON chairman called on members of the national medical team to show positive attitude in discharging their responsibilities, warning that the commission will not accept any non-medical person to be on the team.
Certainly gone are those days where we will allow a non-medical personnel to be part, or his name or her name to be on the list of medical personnel, simply because his sponsor or nominee wants him to go and perform Hajj. If you are a medical personnel, you are a medical personnel. If you are not, you can go to Hajj under another name, but not under medical personnel. Definitely the Commission and the screening committee will not accept that. So I hope those who knows they are directly affected will not blame the committee that they have screened them out for no reason. If the reason is you are not a medical personnel and your name is said as a medical personnel, naturally you cannot claim what you are not.
Until we get the best national medical team.
While making his remarks, head of NAHCON medical team, Dr. Ibrahim Kana, explained that the committee established by NAHCON chairman to review the performance of the medical team in 2016 reached a consensus that the national medical team is the best for Nigeria.
The chairman, in his wisdom, decided to set up a committee. That committee comprised the states, i.e. Lagos State, Kaduna State, Kano State, Adamawa State, Imo State, as well as the tour operators and the armed forces, with some few professionals around, to review the problems that we experienced last year, to see whether we should continue the national medical team or not. The meeting was supposed to last for 2-3 days, lasted within hours, because there was a consensus. The consensus was that national medical team is the best for Nigeria.
He said this year, the team is introducing the electronic medical record to its services and will also purchase 80% of its drugs from Nigeria.
The chairman has also given approval this year that drugs must be procured in Nigeria and be shipped to Saudi Arabia even before Hajj. This is the first time.
As the chairman took his leave, the training commenced with Dr. Ibrahim Kana engaging the team members on the role and conduct of national medical team.
We are going for a serious medical operation, very, very serious medical operation. And that's why people that take this job with laxity, I usually do not tolerate them at all. They call me all sorts of names. I usually don't bother about that. I think I remain focused. And the focus is the pilgrims. So right from Nigeria, the new system we have is we have divided Hajj into two, pre-Hajj and post-Hajj season. Therefore, the medical personnel, half of you will work pre-Hajj, some will work post-Hajj. When I mean Hajj here, I'm referring to Arafat. Some will work pre-Arafat, some will work post-Arafat.
Dr. Kana also handled the step-by-step usage of the newly introduced electronic medical record.
You go for the worst patient. So that means
Dr. Akodu Abdul-Majid Babatunde guided the team on first aid and mass gathering.
in primary assessment, you need to take vital signs. So when you see a patient, the first thing to do, take vital signs. Because without the vital signs, you can't actually do anything. So vital signs are the pulse. Any pulse of more than 120 is a failure. No, the first thing that goes up when somebody is unconscious or is about to collapse is the pulse. The pulse, normal pulse shouldn't go above 100. But when there's a failure, either heart failure or heart attack or whatever, pulse goes to about 120, 140. then it tells you that there's a problem. The next thing that goes up is the SPO2.
On the issues of Hajj rights, NAHCON Secretary Dr. Mohammed Bello Tambuwal made presentations on tenets and rights of Hajj.
When you enter Ihram, for men, Ihram comprises 2 pieces of unsewn cloth. One to be tied around the loin to cover the lower part of the body. And the other piece is to go over the shoulder, leaving the right arm free. The right arm should be free to be able to swing like this. For women, it is a long garment from head to feet. Men are forbidden from covering their heads, while women are forbidden from covering their faces.
The topics handled generated questions and comments from the audience.
How do we laboratory investigation?
And we choose to run primary healthcare system, that is to provide only primary healthcare services. And once we choose that component, the component does not include laboratory. Therefore, we don't run any laboratory in our clinics. And that's the reason why we don't even take any laboratory scientists. We don't need laboratory scientists. Not because they're not important, but because we are not running any laboratory. I get to my point?
Why is NAHCON introducing EMR system into its operations? This was the question we put to Dr. Ibrahim Kana at the end of the training session.
We are in an ICT era now, whereby medical system is completely electronic. That's what the advanced world is doing right now. So we are introducing it into Hajj affairs, because operating during Hajj, we're operating within the international community sphere. Therefore, for the National Hajj Commission to introduce this is the right step in the right direction, whereby all our pilgrims' biodata are computerized. Any patient or pilgrim coming to our facility, clinic facilities, will automatically be captured. Therefore, any patient that also receives any drug will also be captured. Now, it has reduced waiting time for patients. It has increased efficiency of the healthcare workers. It has increased accountability. It has now produced transparency.
Meanwhile, the national medical team for this year will have in its midst those who will not perform Hajj, but would only attend to the medical needs of pilgrims. Dr. Abdul Qadir Bello Salanke, who is one of them, said doing this will guarantee efficiency.
It does improve the efficiency. The way the response to any situation, any challenge, the way you respond, there will be no limitation. You will have access to your vehicle. You can move from the Mashair back to Mecca at any given time. You then move your pilgrims that have challenge to the various hospitals that you may be referring them, inside Mecca or within the Mashair area, that is Muna Arafat areas.
Participants in an interview said the idea of introducing the electronic medical record could not have come at a better time.
For the doctors and the nurses, it reduces their work and enable them to utilize their time for better things other than paperwork.
That electronic medical record has been saved through computer. All the document, biodata of the patient, the type of the management that I be given, how is it be given, which kind of drugs have been served to the patient.
This time around, supervisor will see what you are doing, and then the time you go for your care, it will reflect there. The time that you give everything to the patient, it will reflect there, instantly, without wasting time.
محمد نبينا بنور هدينا اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك.
Hajj Talk tonight focuses on tawaf or circumambulation of the Kaaba as one of the pillars of Hajj. This week, Chief Imam of NTA Kaduna Zone, Imam Abdurrahman Hassan, is guiding us on the topic.
Well, tawaf is one of the pillars of Hajj. Of Hajj, yes, and Umrah at the same time. We have Tawaful Qudum, and we have Tawaful Ifada, and we have Tawaful Wada. And there is also the tawaf al-sunnah, which is just a supererogatory tawaf which one can do at his own way. Now, in connection with Hajj and Umrah, there is this tawaf al-qudum. This tawaf al-qudum, sometimes it's referred to as tawaf al-umrah. That is the tawaf that the first thing one does when he comes to Mecca and visits their haram. That's the first thing he should do. That is the tawaf. And that tawaf is called tawaf al-qudum or tawaf al-umrah.
How then should a pilgrim perform the tawaf?
One has to make sure that the Kaaba is by his left-hand side. The Kaaba by his left-hand side. So if I say the Kaaba by his left-hand side, it means he has to move anti-clockwise. He will be moving anti-clockwise. So that is how it has to be. And he will start with Hajar al-Aswad, move, he will come to Rukun al-Yamani, which he needs to touch if he has the wherewithal. Then from there, he moves to Hajar al-Aswad, kiss it if he has, if it is possible. Then from there, he moves on. That is how he continues. But anytime he comes to the Hajar al-Aswad, he has to make that ishara. If he cannot either kiss or touch it, he must make that ishara and say Allahu Akbar before moving on.
When performing tawaf al-qudum, Imam Hassan says pilgrims are expected to expose their right shoulders as a sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
So he does that for the first three circumambulations, after which he covers his whole body, and he needs to jog up in the first three circumambulations. That is in the either tawaful qudum, it is called, or tawaful umrah. That is the first tawaf.
For tawaful ifada, Imam Hassan explains that it is obligatory for all pilgrims to perform since it is attached to the Hajj.
If it is tawaful ifada, which is in connection with the Hajj ritual, Hajj proper, that is after stoning the last Jamratul Aqaba, then one moves to Mecca and do the circumambulation. That is called tawaful ifada, and it is the tawaful Hajj, which is really compulsory. It's part of the Hajj ritual. One has to do that. So now he is the same pattern, only that this time around he needs not to open his shoulder, his right shoulder. He will just do the circumambulation 7 times and do the normal 2 rak'at, which serves as the ending of the tawaf at Maqama Ibrahim, if that is possible. And if it is not possible, he can find any other place within the haram and make his 2 rak'at before taking his Zamzam.
When performing tawaf, it is compulsory to be in the state of wudu or ablution, since it is like prayer. This means that pilgrims should be in a state of purity. And for women who are in their menstrual period, they are forbidden from performing tawaf.
She will not do tawaf. She can't do tawaf because she is in a state of impurity. She has to, that should be after her menses, after taking her bath, then she'll come and do the tawaf. Any kind of tawaf, she can't do it because of the hadith I earlier mentioned, narrated by Tirmidhi. It's like salah. And you know, a menstruating woman cannot perform salah. Since she cannot perform salah, she cannot perform tawaf. So she can't do it unless when the menstrual period is over and she has purified herself by taking her bath, then she can come and do the tawaf.
Supplications are also recommended for pilgrims doing any type of tawaf.
You can read the Quran, you can make tasbih, subhanallah, alhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, wallahu akbar. You can make only takbir, Allahu akbar, Allahu akbar. You can make any other supplication. It's allowed from where you are to Rukun al-Yamani. At Rukun al-Yamani, where you are being told to touch, if you are able to do, you will start saying رَبَّنَا أَتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. This is what you will continue saying from Rukun al-Yamani to Hajar al-Aswad.
Tawaf al-Wida is the farewell tawaf. Pilgrims do it when they are leaving Mecca.
And this Tawaf al-Wada is when you are leaving Mecca. And it has to be immediately after Tawaf al-Wada, you have to leave the haram. I mean, you have to leave haram of Mecca. And if there are instances whereby maybe you have done your Tawaf al-Wada and you've come back and they will tell you that the schedule has been changed. So in that instance, your tawaf al-wada now is over. It's not obtainable. So what you have to redo it. Whenever a new time is being mentioned to you, you have to go back again and do the tawaf al-wada before leaving Makkah. But the pattern on which the tawaf is being done is the same. It doesn't have any difference with the tawaf al-ifada, or only that the tawaf al-ifada and tawaf al-qudum or tawaf al-umrah, you are in your shrubs, while this one you are in your normal day-to-day clothing. That's just the difference.
It is important to note that tawaf can be undertaken at any particular time of the day.
You know, it depends on your schedule. It depends on your schedule. So that schedule is what will now guide you, because what they do, you know, is the ulama that sit down and put down all these schedules. So, but tawaf has no any specific time to say that okay, it has la zuhr, it has to be done after zawal, or asr, it has to be done at the time, or maghrib, it has to be done after sunset. In tawaf, it's not like that. It can be done in the day, it can be done in the night, any other time it can be done, no problem.
لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك الملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك الملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك الملك لا